Mr Quilp unintentionally adopted the very best means he could have devised for the recovery of his young visitor, by patting her on the head. Such an application from any other hand might not have produced a remarkable effect, but the child shrank so quickly from his touch, and felt such an instinctive desire to get out of his reach, that she rose directly and declared herself ready to return.
'But you'd better wait and dine with Mrs Quilp and me,' said the dwarf.
'I have been away too long, sir, already,' returned Nell, drying her eyes.
'Well,' said Mr Quilp, 'if you will go, you will, Nelly. Here's the note. It's only to say that I shall see him to-morrow, or maybe next day, and that I couldn't do that little business for him this morning. Good-bye, Nelly. Here, you, sir, take care of her, do you hear?'
Kit, who appeared at the summons, deigned to make no reply to so needless an injunction, and after staring at Quilp in a threatening manner, as if he doubted whether he might not have been the cause of Nelly shedding tears, and felt more than half disposed to revenge the fact upon him on the mere suspicion, turned about and followed his young mistress, who had by this time taken her leave of Mrs Quilp and departed.
'You're a keen questioner, aren't you, Mrs Quilp?' said the dwarf, turning upon her as soon as they were left alone.
'What more could I do?' returned his wife mildly.
'What more could you do?' sneered Quilp. 'Couldn't you have done something less? Couldn't you have done what you had to do, without appearing in your favourite part of the crocodile, you minx?'
'I am very sorry for the child, Quilp,' said his wife. 'Surely I've done enough. I've led her on to tell her secret. She supposed we were alone, and you were by. God forgive me!'
'You led her on? You did a great deal, truly,' said Quilp. 'What did I tell you about making me creak the door? It's lucky for you that from what she let fall I've got the clue I want, for if I hadn't, I'd have visited the failure upon you, I can tell you.'
Mrs Quilp, being fully persuaded of this, made no reply. Her husband added with some exultation,
'But you may thank your fortunate stars, the same stars that made you Mrs Quilp. You may thank them that I'm upon the old gentleman's track, and have got a new light. So, let me hear no more about this matter now, or at any other time, and don't get anything too nice for dinner, for I shan't be home to it.'
So saying, Mr Quilp put his hat on, and took himself off. And Mrs Quilp, who was afflicted beyond measure by the recollection of the part she had just acted, shut herself up in her chamber, and smothering her head in the bedclothes, bemoaned her fault more bitterly than many less tender-hearted persons would have mourned a much greater offence. For, in the majority of cases, conscience is an elastic and very flexible article, which will bear a deal of stretching, and adapt itself to a great variety of circumstances. Some people, by prudent management, and leaving it off piece by piece like a flannel waistcoat in warm weather, even contrive in time to dispense with it altogether. But there be others who can assume the garment and throw it off at pleasure, and this, being the greatest and most convenient improvement, is the one most in vogue. End of chapter 6.